Hey guys,
Hey
welcome
guys.
back to Kampai Sugai podcast. I'm Gavin, and I have a special guest with me today. Someone who, returning guest. Actually, I'll be looking at this camera for a bit. Returning guest. Um, Someone who I haven't had on this podcast for I think well over maybe 3 years
It's
almost.
been 2 or 3 years. It's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit, and a lot of changes have happened between in my life as well as your life. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to have you on and just to be able to talk about things, talk story about life, whatever is in store for the future. And I'm glad to have you on. So without further ado, please give a round of applause for Mr. Doug Ward.
Hey, thanks so much, Gavin. Thanks so much for having me on. I mean, you know me. I'm always down for good conversation and better drinks.
Yes, definitely.
Always down for that.
Well, I mean, this podcast has changed because before you were doing insurance and it wasn't a drinking podcast. Now it's a drinking podcast.
Even better.
Right, but it's in the middle of the day, so I don't know if are you a day drinker?
I am not a day drinker. That's a lie. I sometimes am a day drinker. It just depends on the people I'm with.
Okay.
And the circumstance.
Are you are you a social drinker, you would say, or more of a frequent drinker, I guess?
I consider myself more of a social drinker. I'm definitely more of an energetic type of person. And what I mean by that is I tend to feed off of the energy of the people I'm with. So if the people I'm with are very social drinkers, let's have a beer or two, I'll have a beer or two. If they're doing shots, then I might join them for some shots. I'm like a chameleon. I just roll with the crowd in that sense. So, when I say I'm not a day drinker, if the people around me want to have a round, I'm all there.
I agree. I'm the same way. I'm not. I'm more of a social drinker. So like off camera, I won't drink as much, unless like go to a party or something
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that. Then I'm like, yeah, of course I'll have a beer or two or
Yeah,
something.
like I might have a drink at the end of the day, just to
Yeah.
relax and chill.
Yeah,
But
if it's more like that. But yeah, I'm definitely not like a frequent drinker. Like it's like water to me. Yeah,
for sure,
some
you
people
won't
are like that.
you won't see me down in shoju bottles nightly. That's not the person I
That's
am.
too much.
That's a lot. That's quite a bit.
So Doug, tell us about what you've been up to because before you were doing insurance and real estate, now you're doing primarily real estate, and
Yes.
you've actually started your own group, which is pretty crazy.
I have. So just to catch you up and to catch everybody else up on what's been happening. Last time I was on your show, I was doing both. I was doing both real estate and a little bit of insurance. I've since switched back into real estate. So that's my 100% all in. I'm doing that each and every single day. I have started a small team. It's called Genesis Group. And essentially what it is it's just basically myself and a couple of other agents that are with me that I'm helping train and mentor so that one day, they can accomplish the goals that they set out to do.
How did you come up with the name Genesis Group? Because I know a lot of firms, or I mean, even accounting firms, they'll call themselves by their name, or a law firm will be by their name.
Yeah.
Even realtors, their own company or their own group will be by their own name. But you chose Genesis Group over maybe just Doug Ward. So why is that?
So that's a great question, and it's a question I get a lot. The reason why we called it Genesis Group is myself and my partner, Brittany Hall. We started this team together, and it stems from a couple of things. The first thing that it stems from is actually biblical. For those of you that are familiar with the Bible, in the book of Genesis, the first, I guess you can call it chapter in the Bible, it just speaks about the beginning, the beginning of life and just how everything came to be. We wanted to create our own spin on that and call our group Genesis Group, just because we tend to work with more younger clientele. And we believe that real estate is one of the best ways to start and begin that process and journey of creating generational wealth. So we named it Genesis Group because essentially working with us is like your beginning in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're buying a first home, whether you're buying an investment property or two, the word Genesis to us means the beginning. And wherever you are in your real estate journey, whether it's, the beginning or the middle, we want to be a part of that. So that's really where that word stems from. I'll also take a bit to address the first part of your question. I see a lot of other agents and a lot of other teams, just name themselves, say Doug Ward Real Estate or, Team Doug.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I was never a fan of that because I believe that it should be a group effort. It's not just about me. It's about everybody else on the team. It's about our clients. It's about our counterparties. It's about everybody that we work with. And again, this is just purely my opinion. So, the people that will be offended will be offended. But I feel like just naming a team as just your name is a little selfish. It draws more attention to you rather than everybody else around you. And I feel that to be successful in business, it does need to be a team effort. So that's why we just named it Genesis Group. Very subtle, but a powerful meaning at the same time.
Yeah, I like that name Genesis Group because people always think about your first, right? So with with working with you guys, it's like, oh, it's my first. Like I'm going for my first house or first experience buying a new home after maybe selling their old home.
New beginnings.
New beginnings. So I like the name. I like the direction you're going in. So in terms of direction, what made you go full on into real estate?
What made me go full on in real estate is that, again, this is just purely my opinion. I did not want to continue doing insurance simply because it wasn't my style. I was around a lot of successful people in the insurance industry, and the foundation of insurance, especially life insurance, it's a lot of fear. You have to always ask that question, hey, what would happen to your family if this happened? You tend to preach a lot of fear and negativity more often than most. And that's not what I wanted to be doing, and that's not what I wanted to align with. With real estate, real estate's just more about growth and abundance and wealth building. So I wanted to be on that side of the wall. And I'm not saying that, insurance is negative. It's not. I think, there's an amazing purpose, and there definitely is a reason to get it. Everybody should get it. But that just wasn't the direction I wanted to go.
Actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. With life insurance, you're talking about the end, right? The revelation part.
Right,
and then,
exactly.
And then you have Genesis Group, which is the beginning. I like that. That's a very interesting contrast with things. So with real estate now, I mean, this is a big topic because in Hawaii, people are like local families trying to find their first homes. I guess my question is, how viable is it to live in Hawaii?
100%. It is extremely viable to live in Hawaii. What a lot of people don't realize is that it's a lot more affordable than, even the most seasoned buyers know. And case in point, what a lot of people's mindset is that they want to start with their forever home. With the median house price now approaching $1.1 million, with a local family, with regular, normal, average jobs, the sad reality is that without some sort of outside help, they are not going to be able to afford that right off the bat. What they have to do is play the game that's meant to be played. And what I mean by that is it's nice to want to strive for that forever home, but just start off with something small. It doesn't have to check off all of your wants and needs. Just something where you can live in, build your wealth, you know, move up in your career, something reasonable. And then every 3 to 5 years, just step up in home just a little bit. Your average, say, 1 to 2 bedroom townhouse or condo, you are going to be looking about 300,000 to 400,000, which in terms of a monthly payment would depend on a lot of things, your credit score and, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But that payment would roughly be about $2,000, give or take. Now, that's rent for most people. So really, that question can be answered by just talking to a professional. Of course, obviously, I would want it to be me.
Right.
But if it's not, then just pick somebody that you know and trust to help walk you through that process. It will be a long road, but it doesn't have to be a hard one.
I like that because a lot like for myself, I'm trying to think about buying a house myself, because Hawaii is becoming kind of a weird place.
For
you know what I
sure.
mean? I don't know if I want to get into that topic, but there's a lot of things that go into that. But I mean, housing is one thing.
Definitely.
And like you were saying, the median right now is about $1.1 million, which is pretty substantial. But like you were saying, there are houses that are, or condos that are at that 350,000, 400,000 range. So, I guess first of all, how would someone reach out to you for help for buying a house? Let's just say that.
So to buy a house, a lot of people will say just reach out to me first, and of course I would want you to do that. But I feel like when somebody is ready to purchase a home, before contacting someone like myself, they really need to sit down and be honest with themselves. Now, this is not the advice that a lot of other realtors would give, but I'm very practical because buying a house is not for everyone. You really need to sit down and ask yourself, is buying a home right for me at this time? Because the worst thing to happen, especially on our end, is for somebody to rush into the decision and then regret it later. I do not want you to regret your purchase. I want you to love it so that you love us. So they really want to sit down and be honest with themselves. Where are they at in regards to their finances, their living situation? Is it feasible? If not, what would I have to do in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to be ready? And of course, they can give me a call. They can message me on IG. I'll help them walk themselves through that. But they really need to sit down first and just have that plan. Would be my piece of advice.
That's good. I mean, that's something that, like, for myself, I'm still thinking about that. Even like going to the mainland too. I mean, that's another thing. But I want to hold out here as much as possible because Hawaii is my home. So
Hawaii's paradise.
Hawaii's
no
paradise.
Other place like it.
Right, in terms of community too. I mean, there's no other place like this because
Nope.
My second choice, of course, Seattle.
Probably. Oh, okay, I was gonna say Vegas. That would have been my guess.
Vegas is too hot.
Fair enough.
But I like Vegas. I just like visiting there. I think for living, I would choose maybe outside of Seattle, honestly.
Yeah, like Tacoma or whatnot.
Redmond or something.
Redmond. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like those
Good
areas. Do you have listings for clients maybe outside of Hawaii?
So I don't have listings necessarily, but I'm part of a worldwide real estate organization. We have trusted agents, in every state, in almost every country. So if you do decide that, hey, Hawaii might not be the place, or say you are currently in Hawaii but are expecting to move somewhere else, my team has all the trusted contacts to help you make that move. And not even just necessarily realtors, but also moving companies, electricians, handymen,
okay.
The works.
Okay. So kind of going off of that, what would make your guys' company different than, let's say, another realtor that, not saying, I don't know, I know realtors, but I
Yeah.
don't want to say any names, but
Of
like,
course, of
in
course.
terms of like group, like you were talking about resources, you guys have a lot of connections.
Yeah.
What else? What else makes Genesis Group different?
So what makes us different is, just to go off of a term, clout.
Mm,
There is a power in economies of scale. It's the reason why companies like Walmart and Costco
mm-hmm,
can offer the prices and the discounts that they can.
mm-hmm,
It's just because their name in the marketplace creates so much value, and they're such a large organization
mm-hmm.
that they can afford to have and get the best prices and the best deals. So, Genesis Group, we're partnered with eXp Realty. eXp Realty is, I don't want to say number one. I don't want to perjure myself.
Yeah.
But I know for sure they're at least in the top five when it
Wow.
comes to, real estate companies worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have that reach and we have that network that allows us to just reach more people, and it allows us to, just create better relationships with the people that we do have.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's amazing. A lot of
Oh,
resources
thank you.
already getting. So, how did you come up with your team? Because like, there's you. Then
Hmm.
you were talking about Brittany.
Brittany.
Um, there's another person as well on your team.
Yes.
How did you guys all come together? First of all.
So how we came together, I'll go off of that statement and say me and Brittany have always been really great friends.
Mm-hmm.
How we reconnected is she messaged me one day, just a DM, and said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I'm getting out of the army. Real estate's something I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Can I take you out to lunch and pick your brain?" And I said, "Absolutely. I love talking about real estate, and I love mentoring, new people."
Mm-hmm.
So from there, we went out. We just really vibed. We had a great time. We're still best friends to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I went back into real estate with no intention of creating a team.
Mm.
I was just
Mm-hmm.
gonna be the solo dolo agent,
Mm-hmm.
just like
Yeah.
95% of all of them out there. But then we really, like, as we talked about what we wanted to do and what we wanted to accomplish in real estate, we thought, hey, you know, two bodies are definitely better than one.
Mm-hmm.
Four bodies are definitely better than two.
Mm-hmm.
We just wanted to create this sense of community and just a bigger shared vision around, real estate and
Yeah.
building wealth and new beginnings
Mm-hmm.
from real estate. And we said, you know what, we can't do this alone.
Mm.
We're going to need some help. So that's how we got started. So how it is right now, there's us. We have a couple of other people. Shout out to Dylan. We do all the major stuff. We play matchmaker with the buyers and sellers.
Okay.
The contracts and all the fun stuff. We have somebody that's helping us with, the showings, the day-to-day stuff. We have somebody doing our marketing for us. So what everybody is good at, we can just put it into a giant pool, and ultimately it just benefits you.
One thing I remember we were talking on the phone one time. What I really respected was how much you care for your team and the difference in how you manage your team. So I want to talk about boundaries,
Yeah.
as a realtor with
Of course.
with clients and stuff like that. So what's different about what your process is versus maybe another realtor that's hustling after 9
Yeah.
p.m. Let's say that.
Boundaries. Wow, that's a great topic. So how do I start with this? There tends to be a hustle culture now in today's society. A lot of people, I think, have really drunk in the Gary V, Grant Cardone Kool-Aid. And while their advice isn't necessarily bad, I feel like it's taken out of context a bit. and they preach, hustle, 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 be on your grind, 20 hours a day, no sleep. And while that's a good mindset to have, I feel like in reality, it's pretty toxic advice. And how I can kind of bounce on that is, have you ever tried the keto diet?
I haven't tried it, but I know what it is.
Okay, so they describe the keto diet for those of you out there that don't know what that is.
I'd say, well, of course, low or no carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So you wanna reduce your carb intake. I think a lot of people misconceive that with just eating meat, when it's not really that. It's still creating a balanced diet. Of course, you want to eat meat, get the protein in, but you still are missing some of those nutrients from carbohydrates as
Yeah.
well. So I'll say that avocado is one. A lot of keto diets, they incorporate avocado.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how I would say. Kind of sum it up a little bit.
It's a great summary. No rice in Hawaii is extremely hard, if not
Yeah.
impossible, right?
Can't have a musubi without rice.
Nope. Can't have sushi. Can't have a gyudon bowl. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
No ramen, udon. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the keto diet, it's basically no carbs. It's just all protein and vegetables. The keto diet, the basis of it is that you're essentially starving your body of carbohydrates to trick your body into burning fat. So when you're on the keto diet, and I'm not a nutritionist, you tend to lose a lot of weight very quickly. No carbs. However, it really puts a lot of strain on your body. I did keto for, I'd say, 3 to 4 months. And I lost a ton of weight. I went from, I was 220 at my heaviest down to 170. I lost almost 50 pounds.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, doing keto.
Yeah, you definitely lost weight.
Thank you. In 3 to 4 months, but honestly, Gavin, those 3 to 4 months was hell for me. It was hell on earth. I felt like shit. I was tired. I was tired all the time. I had no energy. I had extreme brain fog. But at the end of the day, I did lose the weight. How that kind of ties back into boundaries is that I feel like this hustle culture, tells aspiring entrepreneurs, you have to constantly be on your grind 24/7. And while that may work for a little bit in the short term, long term, it's not sustainable. In the beginning, when I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I was the same way. I kind of bit the bullshit, and I was fed that advice, and I stuck to it. I was the type of person, and I still am the type of person that says, I will do whatever is necessary to hit my end goal, whatever that may be. I'm just naturally that type of person.
Yeah.
So, I would just constantly hustle, grind. I would wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I would, go to sleep at 11, 12 a.m., constantly working, 6, 7 days a week, no days off. And, and I saw decent success, and I made quite a bit of income. But my personal life really suffered. I really had no personal life because of that. So when it comes to boundaries, I feel like you yourself, whether you're a real estate agent or any sort of entrepreneur, you need to have your own set of boundaries. And the most important part, it is non-negotiable. You have to stick to it no matter what. I'll give you an example that we were just talking about off the air. I have a ton of people calling me and messaging me every day for whatever reason. One of the boundaries that I set is after 9 p.m., my phone's off. After 9 p.m., my phone is off. I love my clients. I would, give them the world. I do anything and everything to make sure that their goal and what they want to accomplish will be taken care of by me and my team. However, after 9 p.m., my phone shut off. You can try and call me. You can try to text me. That's cool. I will not answer until the next morning. And, that's just for me. It's because, hey, after 9 p.m., that's my rest time. That's my time to, either relax or just spend it with the people I love. And I found that strangely, in a strange way, when you're firm with the people around you, they tend to respect you more. I have had clients demand certain things of me, and I would just tell them no, straight up, no. No beating around the bush, like, maybe not, just no. I will not do that because I have too much self-respect in myself to, acquiesce to this request, and if you have a problem with it, we might not be a good fit. And they tend to respect you more for it. So in terms of boundaries, it can be different for everybody. I would just say have a set of boundaries and stick to it. And it'll make your life and the lives of people around you so much better.
Speaking about like hustle culture, and then like I like that you mentioned that because there's guys like Gary Vee, David Goggins, Grant Cardone, you were saying, that they kind of preach about that, like day and night. You stay up till 1 a.m. in the morning working, blah 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 blah. Which I guess in some days you might have to do that. But in a lot of ways, maybe you might be able to stay up to 1 a.m. working every night like that, but not everyone's doing that.
Right.
And that's fine. That's maybe you're still outworking people, but it's not like you're outliving them.
Exactly.
Because in a way, I mean, I like that you were saying you turn off your phone at 9 p.m. because what's going to happen after 9 p.m.? You're going to be able to close the deal after 9 p.m.?
A lot of people in the real estate industry, like escrow and, our counterparties, other insurance agents, they're 9-to-5ers. So, outside of that rare exception, there's really nothing I can do at 9 p.m. that can't be done until the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like I was saying, for living, because in a lot of ways, entrepreneurs, I think they make the mistake that hustle now and then live plentiful later. But then if you don't live sustainable in your early years, how are you going to live sustainable in your later years?
Exactly. Life's so short. You might have a heart attack and die tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
You can hustle and, make all this cash so you can enjoy later. What if there is no later? I have a pretty personal story on that. So not a lot of people know this, but before real estate, I was involved in my family's business. One of our competitors, and I won't say the names, but the owner of one of our competitors' stores, he had that mindset. He was in his late 60s, and, he was already a successful businessman. He made his money, and he had more than enough to retire. But he would always say, you know what? I'm going to work one more year. I'm going to work one more year. I'm going to work one more year. I'm going to stack up just a little bit more, so my retirement can look just a little bit sweeter. Maybe I can go first class instead of business class. Like I'm going to work one more year. Do you know what happened to him?
Oh, make.
He went make. How?
What, aneurysm, heart attack? What?
He had a heart attack on his desk while working.
Oh.
It just goes to show you. Also, too, and this is just my personal belief, you need to take time for yourself to enjoy. There's nothing wrong with hustling and hustling and hustling, but just like Drake says, YOLO. You're only gonna be this young and healthy once. I would rather spend a couple thousand now and have a nice vacation in Paris now when I'm, young and healthy,
Yeah.
rather than when I'm in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
There's no fun in that.
That's a good example because like I have another example where there was someone who was an accountant
Hmm.
I knew worked till 66
Ah, okay.
and he was ready for retirement and everything.
Hmm.
Couple months after retirement, he got
Oh,
aneurysm, and then
shoot.
he passed away. But he was setting up for a vacation, but
Yep.
he was same mindset. We gotta work, gotta work, gotta work. Keep going at it,
Hmm.
keep pushing at it. And that's what happens.
Yep.
So it's like you were saying, it's better to start living now.
Hmm.
I mean, of course people got to work. People have to
Right.
put in the work to get somewhere, but also they got to remember that life is short too.
Hmm.
Too, so you got to have that balance.
For sure. It's a fine balance between, working hard, playing hard, saving money for the future versus living in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a balance. And what that scale will look like is different for everybody.
Mm.
But, just like setting boundaries, I feel like it's something that every person, especially an aspiring entrepreneur or business person, these are battles and these are realizations that they're going to have to really sit down and be honest with themselves one day.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about realtor burnout. We
Okay.
kind of talked about that
That's a fun topic.
a little bit off air, but realtor burnout. It's just like burnout with being an entrepreneur, business,
Mhm.
small time business owner too. But let's talk about realtor burnout. Like, what is it? How does people get to that point?
Yeah.
What's your experience with that?
This is a topic that is very close to me because not a lot of people know this again, but I went through it.
Mm.
And, now being on the other side, I feel as if I'm qualified to speak on it.
Mm-hmm.
Realtor burnout, I'll kind of preface it by saying that the failure rate for realtors, especially new real estate agents,
Mm-hmm.
is astronomical. I don't know the official stats,
Mm.
but I believe it's something in the realm of 87%
Oh,
of
jeez.
yeah, 87% of brand new agents
Mm.
quit the business within their first 2 or 3 years.
Wow. Holy crap.
So that's almost 9 out of 10.
Holy crap. Okay, yeah.
Oh, nine out of 10 don't last more than 2 or 3 years.
Jeez.
And I feel like every realtor has their own opinion as to why that's the case.
Mm.
What my opinion is that because I've also gone through this, I feel like real estate is one of those careers that is widely misunderstood.
Mm.
A lot of people, they watch, Selling Sunset on Netflix, or
Yeah.
they watch like the house flipping shows on
Uh-huh.
HGTV, Flipping Vegas and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and they think, damn, this is pretty easy, this is pretty cool, I
Mm.
could do this too.
Mm-hmm.
And what's portrayed between society and the actual nature of the job is miles wide.
Mm.
When I first started in real estate, because I would watch all the shows and
Yeah,
whatnot
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I thought, damn, once I get my real estate license, I'll post on Facebook or Instagram like, yo, guys, I got my license, hit me up. Anybody that needs real estate, hit me up.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, just like the shows, my phone would just be going off all day long with, people wanting to buy or sell. And I thought I would just be a glorified order taker.
Mm.
Basically, I would show up in a nice suit, or a nice Aloha shirt,
Mm-hmm.
show some homes and, get a $10,000-$15,000 commission check
Right.
2 months later.
Yeah.
But the reality of the career of real estate is that you really do need to hustle. Some people are lucky in the sense that they already have a big network, or just have rich family.
Yeah.
I know some
Big
agents,
investors.
big
We'll
investors.
say that.
I know some agents, and I won't name names, but all they do is personal deals for their family members.
Oh,
just
wow.
because
Okay.
their immediate family has like 30 rentals,
Oh,
and they constantly buy and sell their own family's properties. I know some agents that are like
oh,
that.
okay.
And if that's you, then great. You probably should have got your license earlier.
Yeah.
But for most of us, 95% of us, you're gonna have to hustle to
Mm,
find your deals. Um, Inevitably, your first maybe one or two will be your friends and family.
mm,
But after that, what next?
mm.
Where are you gonna find your potential buyers and sellers?
The next deal. What's the next deal?
What's the next deal?
Mm,
Um, and that's why I feel like the failure rate's so high. People get their license, they'll do those one or two deals, and then after that, it's like, oh shit, what next?
mm, mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, they have bills to pay. You know, they have expectations that might not be met,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they fade away after
Mm-hmm.
so long. Um, they should not be afraid of prospecting, which is trying to find those people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll kind of piggyback on that and say that the last time I checked, in the state of Hawaii, there's about 18,000 licensed real estate
Oh,
agents.
jeez. I believe that.
18,000, yeah.
I believe that.
In a state
That's pretty crazy.
the population's what is it, like 1.2, 1.3
Yeah.
million. So you're talking more than 1%. Did I
Yeah.
do my math right? 12,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. More than 1%.
More than 1% of the population is a realtor.
Ah.
For people coming in, how are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to be different
Mm,
than the 20,000 other ones of you out there?
mm,
Because a lot of people, they just think that all realtors are the same. They're not.
mm,
So what are you going to do to stand out from the rest?
mm.
How are you going to be different?
Yeah. It's a you know speaking about that. It's a lot of it is relationships.
Yep.
Building that network, building that not camaraderie, not that I don't know if that's the word, but building that
Yeah.
relationship with your clients and also
Right.
with other people as well. So you're entirely right when you say building, like what's going to differentiate one realtor from another realtor.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of realtors. I didn't
Definitely.
realize how. I mean, I knew it was a big number because I know a few, but it's like, I'm thinking, okay, there's probably another realtor out there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But in Hawaii itself, I didn't realize it's like more than 1% at least. That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Hawaii's so close. Hawaii's community and culture,
Mm.
everybody's family, right? Even people you don't know, you call them, uncle, auntie, brother.
Yeah.
It's just the local culture here. And except for, there'll always be the exceptions, but most people know, two, three, four, several realtors. You yourself said that you
Yeah.
know a couple of realtors.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for someone to choose, when the time is
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like, hey, when the time comes that I want to buy or I want to sell or I want to invest or I want to do something, who am I going to choose? How am I not going to offend the people that I don't choose?
Right.
So it's very tough.
That's a hard
in that
question,
sense.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like it could be maybe a couple friends, that are really good friends, and then it's like, oh, they're both realtors. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So it's like, damn, how do I pick?
Yeah. I'll be like, can you guys like split it?
Something, right.
That's a complicated question,
Mhm.
actually. I'm sure a lot of people have that same question
Definitely.
too. So in terms of buyers,
Mm-hmm.
do you get some buyers from maybe like let's say Japan or
Mhm.
maybe the States, maybe other countries as well that want to invest or buy something over here?
Good question. So for us necessarily, it just really depends on the area
Mm.
you're speaking about. And I'll give an example. Right now, I have a listing in Waikiki.
Okay.
It's just a small studio, priced very modestly. For this one, we've seen a lot of overseas buyers.
Mm.
we've had a lot of interest from the West Coast, California, Seattle, but we've also seen a lot of international buyers.
Oh,
In the
interesting.
past week, I've met and signed a couple from South Korea and from Sydney, Australia.
Wow.
From that, they found that, either through my website or through, something like Redfin. And that's how they reached out to me. So that just generally answer the question, yes. We do see a lot of, international buyers from, the U.S. mainland. Not so much local families. Bless you.
We can keep that into it.
Oh yeah, that would have been pretty good. But say if you're if you're dealing with somewhere, like say for example Palolo or Waimanalo,
Yeah. Yeah.
you might get more say quote unquote local families. People from Japan aren't necessarily flocking to buy say a home in Pro City, but they're definitely flocking to buy a condotel in Waikiki,
Or something in Kahala.
something in Kahala,
Yeah.
something
Interesting.
like that. So it's very location specific.
So in terms of like international, international clients, how do you break that like that language barrier? Because you probably get maybe like let's just say maybe a Japanese buyer
Yeah.
or someone from South Korea. Do you have people that can translate for you, or for the most part maybe everybody speaks English? Maybe.
Yes. So it just goes back to, our parent company, eXp Realty, having such a large reach. We have agents in Hawaii, local agents that can speak those dialects.
Oh.
So if I have,
interesting.
say, a Japanese buyer or, say a Korean buyer that their English isn't too solid, I can find, a native Korean speaker or a native Japanese speaker that is a realtor that is affiliated with our company.
Wow.
And, we can go half on the deal.
Interesting. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I never thought about that as a situation.
Yeah, that's not something that you'll get with a lot of smaller companies.
So, I want to talk about the process of becoming a realtor.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know if someone wants to throw their hat in the ring and be part of that
Yeah.
8,000, plus realtors maybe in Hawaii, or maybe in the mainland or something. How does one even get to start with that whole process?
So, again, just like my advice for buying a home, once you decide that you want to be a realtor or you decide you want to be a real estate agent, you really first just need to sit down and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I doing it just to make money? Which is, okay. It's just what's the deeper meaning, right? Because everybody wants to make money, right? Why do I want to make more money? Is it so I want to support my family? Is it because I want to take, my other half on dream vacations? Do I want to elevate my lifestyle? Just be honest with yourself why you want to do it. From there, say if you still want to throw your hat in the ring, every state is a little different in terms of their procedures. But here in Hawaii, what you have to do is take a pre-licensing class. So it's just, I believe it's 60 or 80 hours of classroom education. It's just,
That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Laws, policies, procedures, all
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You'll pass an exam for that. Once you pass that exam, then you can take your state and national exams. So there's 3 sets of exams. Once you pass those 2, then you can officially file with the state of Hawaii. We are a licensed profession, so the state is going to look into your background. Is this guy or is this person qualified to, assist people with this? We don't want any felons, right?
Yeah.
You're dealing with, people's sensitive information, their social security number, their finances, and, you're trusting them. They are trusting you with the biggest asset of their life. For a lot of people, that's a lot of trust. So you just have to pass that step. Once you pass that step, you're in. From there, you can pick and choose the companies or the brokerages that you want to be affiliated with.
Okay.
Every single one of them has a different style and culture. So I really can't advise on what the best one is out there. I gotta plug my company, EXP Realty. I've been around the block. I've been with, I believe, 5 different companies, 4 or 5 companies at this point in my career. And for where I'm at, it's just the best in terms of, commission split and what they offer. But I would just say go and interview with a couple of them, just feel them out.
Check it out.
Yeah, check them out, see what they're offering, and then just go from there.
I mean, you can't go wrong with being able to find in that network an international realtor. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So I think that's a big plus too.
For sure.
As plus with I get the whatchamacallit, not the notoriety, but I guess that company is known to be one of the top 5 in your eyes. Then I mean, obviously that's a good pick.
It's all about the clout,
Yeah.
as we say, right?
It's kind of like accounting firms too, because I used to work for one accounting firm that I guess they were considered top 5. I didn't realize this until I actually worked there.
Yeah.
But like they were considered top 5 in Hawaii. So, but that because that name was being backed by I guess, or because that one partner was kind of the big name, and he had just this network of people, that we were able to get so many other clients. And
Yeah. Easily recognizable.
yeah, easily recognizable. We had a lot of international clients, which was kind of interesting because I did taxes for some international clients. Being able to see their books, it's kind of interesting because their system works a little different.
Yeah.
And then being able to do their taxes was a little different. So it was,
You get to see and understand everybody's processes and then
yeah.
kind of take and choose. Yeah.
And then now working for another company, which I think is considered in that top 5, which is pretty crazy that I went from one top 5 to another top 5, which is awesome. But seeing their process too, they actually emphasize more of a work-life balance.
Oh, that's good.
Which is something I've never seen with the other accounting firms that I checked with, but they really push that whole work-life balance because, like we were talking about, focus on living. I mean, focus on living rather than working so hard till you can't anymore.
Yep. And it's always, I like to say quality over quantity. I would rather have somebody else work 2 or 3 super hyper dedicated work hours and then take the rest of the day off,
Right.
rather than, quote unquote work for 14 hours and just, bullshit. Right? If you really are that hyper focused in those 2-3 hours, you're gonna accomplish more in the long run than this hustle grind culture. Work from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. But what do you consider working?
Yeah, and you might not be able to be in the right state of mind to do certain things, so that you're not giving your clients the best possible deals or possible your best possible work. Or the best possible product.
Exactly.
So
I know a lot of other realtors are probably gonna watch this. What's up?
Hey.
What I'll say is, it's not a bad thing to switch companies. I feel like it's almost stigmatized. Like, hey, you have to stick with this one company. It's very normal in real estate to hop from one company to the other, because just like your accounting experience, you can take what you learned and what you know from one company, hop to the next, learn their processes, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then at the end of the day, it just makes you a better agent for your clients. Like I said, I've EXP Realty is probably my 4th or 5th company in 5 years, and I'd want to say this is my forever company, but hey, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows one day?
Yeah,
'Cause
things can change.
you learn a little bit from every company,
Mm.
and it's just all about that experience.
I totally agree with that because like the company I'm with now, they're the partner actually knows another partner
Hmm.
from another company that I actually met, but then
Right.
also like everything kind of comes together.
Everything
So
feeds kind of undo itself.
yeah, and it's cool. I mean, there's no which is pretty cool. There's no real competition. I guess with accounting firms,
Hmm.
there's not really a big competition. Everybody just kind of knows each other,
Yeah.
which is pretty interesting.
It's the same in real estate too.
Mm.
And, you know, there's almost this camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know, it's just natural. And, you know, I was telling my other half this the other night.
Hmm.
In the real estate industry, you know, at least in Hawaii, I don't know how it is in other places,
Hmm.
but a lot of the top agents, you know, we all know each other,
Hmm.
you know, because just naturally, you know, we have most of the clientele.
Mm.
So it's almost normal that our paths cross
Mm.
more often than not.
Mhm.
You know, so just in terms of the relationship,
Mm.
all the top agents, you know, we really know each other. You know, maybe not personally,
Mhm.
but you know, we'll see their name. Hey, I talked to them a couple
Yeah,
of times. You
yeah.
know, hey, we had a beer once.
Yeah.
You know, one of those things. You know, and it's crazy because just going back to the whole relationships thing, I've had and I've been in situations where, you know, say we be presented with an offer,
Mhm.
and it might not have been the best offer on paper,
Mhm.
but I personally knew the agent. You
Mm.
know, either we've spoken on the phone or, you know, we've gone out for drinks or whatnot.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, I knew that other agent personally. So even though on paper it wasn't the best deal, you know, there was other offers that were better on paper.
Mm.
I advise my client, hey, you know, let's take this one just simply because I know the experience is going to be solid. I
Mm.
know this person, they're good.
Mm. Mhm.
Rather than, you know, being with somebody either, you know, less experienced, less seasoned, or I'm just going to say it, an asshole, because
Mm.
there's definitely some of those,
Mhm. Or someone you're unfamiliar with,
or somebody you're unfamiliar with.
Yeah, because I mean, there's always a risk with that too, because
Yep.
unfamiliar, so you don't know their style. Maybe they
Hmm.
might screw up the deal, one way or another. But yeah, that building that relationship, that
Hmm.
rapport with other people, understanding their style, understanding how they work, their efficiency, and then they know your efficiency, how you work, your work ethic. So then it just works out better.
Yep.
I
I had
think.
somebody ask me for my, this was another agent submitting an offer to me. They asked me for my fax number.
Oh,
They said,
okay.
"Hey, what's your office's fax number?
Okay.
I want to fax you this offer."
Uh,
And you know, I was nice and professional about it. I said,
uh-huh.
you know, hey, you know, I don't think my office has a fax machine.
Okay.
You know, can you
Yeah.
please, you know, PDF it to me in an
Right.
email? But in my head, I'm like, are you kidding me? Really, a fax? Like, what is this? The '90s?
Uh,
You know, but it is just stuff like that.
Interesting. Okay, so let's get into let's get into this topic about
Yeah.
um, government laws.
Ooh, okay.
So how heavily do like maybe afford because there's a big push in government,
Hmm.
at least even with the people running for governor,
Yeah.
they're pushing for affordable housing.
Hmm.
How much of that really impacts your profession?
Day to day. Um, that's a really good question. I would say that I really couldn't answer that honestly
Mm.
because it would just depend on the specifics.
Mm.
I'm a very specifics type of person. You know, I like to be specific. I don't like to be just general.
Yeah.
So I would really have to kind of break down and see exactly what each candidate is saying and promising
Mhm.
and the mechanics behind those promises.
Mhm.
You know, before I can just give you and everybody else an accurate answer.
Yeah.
Affordable housing in general, I definitely believe it's needed. Like God, you know,
Mhm.
us local families need it bad.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna say it. Most of our clients are not from here.
Mm.
I'd say 65 to 70% of the clients that my team has right now
Mhm.
are, you know, either on the U.S. mainland or overseas.
Mm.
Affordable housing is definitely needed. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to money.
Mhm.
I think the people in charge has to do more and they have to step up to try to pass, some sort of subsidy or some kind of bill that really encourages developers to build more affordable housing. What exactly that would look like, I wouldn't be able to tell you. That's, out of my depth.
Yeah.
But just think of it in terms of money. If you were a developer whose job and end goal is to provide as much profit as possible, either for themselves or their shareholders, assuming everything's the same plot of land and construction materials and whatnot, would you rather build $1 million condos, $2-3 million condos that are springing up around Ala Moana everywhere, where you can charge, $10,000, $20,000 a year in property tax,
or on a Holly marketplace?
Yeah, exactly. Or would you rather build, a $300,000 to $400,000, affordable housing units? The building costs are going to basically be the same. You're using the same amount of land, same amount of labor, but building those luxury condos, would provide 2 to 3 times more profit. So something needs to be done to address that gap on the state level. Because I think once, money always talks, right? Yeah. Once that change is made, whatever it may be, that's when you're going to see more developers choosing to go the affordable housing route rather than, just building condos for your mainland and international buyers.
Yeah. How about for the rail? Because the rail, there's a lot of talk with maybe some condos being built next to it, or maybe even hotels being built next to the rail. How does the rail even affect? Because we haven't even seen it even.
If it gets done.
If it gets done.
If it gets done.
I mean, it's supposed to be functional maybe within the summer, I guess. Maybe these next couple months. But
they keep extending it like a couple months.
Yeah, or something. So how does that affect maybe your business as well?
So how it would affect our business is that a lot of these condo buildings and a lot of these new projects that are coming up along or close to the rail line, they see that as a big sticking point. For them, that's a big selling point. Hey, we're walking distance from a rail station. If those plans were to change, that would deter a lot of people. And I would have to look at the contracts of each single individual building because they're all different.
They're all different.
But I would imagine that, say, if you were in a building or if you were in the process of purchasing in a building close to the rail line and the rail line doesn't hit that area, you could probably, cancel your purchase without penalty.
Interesting.
Again, I can't say for sure. I'd have to look at the contracts.
Yeah.
But
it's a possibility.
It's a very real possibility.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So kind of bouncing on that, I mean, if that were to happen, you're going to see a lot of these buildings, either sit empty or, they might not be as occupied as the developers have imagined, especially with our current market conditions right now.
So they'd just be glorified buildings then?
Basically.
Oh, my God.
Kind of like the building I'm moving out of, half empty.
So, actually, I want to talk about that. Like, would you say Hawaii would be like your end all place to live at, or would you want to move somewhere else?
For everybody in general, I think everybody should try to own a piece of Hawaii real estate. We're so separated from the rest of the world in a good way.
Yeah.
That, like we said before at the beginning of this podcast.
We're a third world state. You know what I mean?
Everybody makes the jokes like, oh, we ride whales to school and, all that stuff. And we live in grass shacks and sip Mai Tais on the beach.
Oh, riding whales to school. Yeah. That's an interesting, statement.
I believe everybody should own a piece of Hawaii real estate. Whether it's to live, whether it's just for a vacation home, or a place to park your money. Hawaii real estate has some of the best return on investments in the entire world. not counting the past 2 years, because the past 2 years have been absolutely nuts. You know, Hawaii real estate on average appreciates about 5 to 6% a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
You know, I know. I was just talking to one of my close friends. Her parents purchased a single family home in Mililani, Mauka. You know, when they were in their 20s, you know, they paid, I believe, like 150 or 200,000
Okay.
for, you know, a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, Mililani, Mauka single family.
Wow. Okay.
That home now is, you know, over 1.3 million. So, you know, you grew your wealth from 200,000 to 1.3, 1.4 million in less than 30 years. You know, where else are you going to be able to do that? Safely, reliably.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah. So, you know, whether you're looking for a place to live or a vacation home or just a place to park your money and watch it grow, I believe everybody should own a piece. For me personally, you know, I was born and raised here in Hawaii and Oahu.
Yeah.
I could definitely see myself leaving one day, but I'm always going to have a home here in Hawaii. You know, I was considering moving to Texas a couple years ago.
Okay.
And, you know, Texas is a very special place for me. You know, I would consider, say, purchasing a home in Texas or, you know, purchasing a home, you know, say in Seattle, for example. You know, just for like a vacation home and also just for investment.
Yeah.
But at least for the foreseeable future, I'm always going to consider Hawaii my home. I'm always going to have a place here.
Awesome. Yeah.
Such a special place.
Yeah. I mean, if I ever get to that point, hopefully I can own a piece here and then own a piece somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
So.
And then just, you know, go back and forth.
Yeah. Go back and forth. Seattle always speaks to me. Always.
Yeah.
I just love the weather. I love the community there too. Kind of interesting environment there too, because they do have some Asian hate.
Yeah.
Some, which is weird. I
wouldn't think Seattle would be.
It subtly.
Oh,
There
I
is.
see.
It's very subtle. But people don't talk about that. But
Maybe that should be talked about.
that's another topic.
That's a good episode another time.
Yeah, I don't think Vegas has that much.
I don't
Asian
think
hate.
so. There's
Yeah.
so many, you know, people. I don't want to say Hawaiians, but you know, people from Hawaii moving to Vegas.
There's a lot of Filipinos there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Henderson and Summerlin.
Yeah,
Kind of like the two, you know, Hawaiian hotspots.
I just
Vegas.
noticed them like, hey, it's my cousins. You know?
Yeah. You're gonna see game rooms popping up there soon. Then you know it's Hawaii.
All right, Doug. So just to wrap things up,
Yeah.
what's in store for the future for Genesis Group as well as yourself? What's in store for you?
So what's in store for the future? I mean, with Genesis Group, you know, there will be a point where we're just going to cut off, you know, new hires. Right now, you know, I'm constantly looking for new talent. You know, I'm constantly looking for new ways to bring value to our clients and just, you know, the broader, you know, world in general. So yeah, I'm always looking for new talent, you know, whether that's new agents or, you know, if you're in the creative space, you know, I'd love to connect. So,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
message me. In the next, I guess, couple years, I really see myself almost stepping back from being an agent per se and just being, say, more like the CEO of a company. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't be the one, say, you know, showing the homes. I'm going to let the people that are the best at that do that. And I'll be more behind the scenes. You know, I'll be, you know, pulling the strings. I'll be the mentor. You know, I'll be the person negotiating on your behalf. You know, doing the contracts, doing those sorts of things. But, you know, to answer that question, you know, real estate's one of those things where it's just constantly changing. You know, you need to have a professional on your side that's in tune with what's happening, you know, every day, every week, every month. So I can see myself focusing more on that rather than the day-to-day side of being an agent.
And of course, I mean, with the upcoming election this year, things can change
Things can change at an instant.
at an instant. So
Stock market might drop 30%, or
that
you know
is
the
true.
the mortgage rates might jump up to 10%. You never know. You never know what's gonna happen.
Doug, I can't thank you enough for being here.
Gavin, thanks so much for having me. It's been a bit.
First of all, before we end off where we Kampai,
Yes.
how can people get in contact with you as well as Genesis Group?
So the best way to reach us is definitely through Instagram. You can just send me a DM, slide in my DMs. Life with Doug with an underscore at the end. So that's Life with Doug _. Or you can hit up my team. My team's Instagram is called Genesis Group Hawaii.
All one word.
All one word.
All one word.
All lowercase. So just DM me on one of those. The Genesis Group page is ran by my team, but just shout me out and I'll see it for sure.
Of course.
But Instagram's probably the best way to reach me.
And just speaking on Doug, Doug has, I've known Doug for a number of years. He has immense amount of knowledge with real estate,
You're the best.
and insurance as well. But I mean, Doug is even though we talk about hustle culture, Doug is a smart hustler. He knows ins and outs.
Smart hustler.
But he's
I'm gonna
also
have to coin that.
you are a smart hustler. You're very what I respect about you is you have that work-life balance. You have that you understand people. I think that's a very important thing with being an entrepreneur, because a lot of people just see the dollar signs, but you see the people first, then things come into place.
For sure. I think where a lot of people slip up, and this is how I'll end too. I think a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, you're right, they only see the dollar signs. They see relationships as transactional. They're not honest and they're not genuine when they're trying to make a connection. They're trying to make a connection with a motive.
Right.
What can I get from this person?
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend to be friends with them to, make a sale down the road. Nah, that's incorrect. You don't do that. What you want to try to do is just build those genuine, lasting relationships. That's what I do. That's what I instruct my team to do. Relationship first. Don't be shoving business down their throat every chance you get. That's incorrect, right? Just build as many genuine relationships as you can. Then, as long as you do that, when the time comes to do something,
things will come to place.
Things will just naturally fall into place.
All right.
That's how it should be. Gavin, thanks so much for having me, man.
Of course. Hey, thank you,
It's been
Doug.
a bit.
Kelsey will get shots ready, and then we'll Kampai.
Let's do it.
All right, Doug.
Bye.
Here's to you. Here's to continuing with Genesis Group and whatever you do in the future. I think it's going to be very successful, and yeah, thanks for connecting for all these years, man.
Anytime, Gavin. Hey, long live the Genesis Group and long live Kampai.
Right on. Kampai.
Kampai.